Here's what happened, guys. I've been seeing online cash only weekends. I want to know if you have been doing this and let me know your experience in the comments. What it is on Fridays, you go to the ATM, you've already had your budget set up for the week, for the weekend. You go pull cash out, and then that's the only money you spend on the weekend. You don't use a credit card. This would have been nice back in college for me. Would have been nice when I started my first business as a DJ over 11 years ago. There are so many nights I remember where I would get drunk and then spend so much more money than I wanted to that night, and I'm using a card instead of cash. This cash only weekends is a good idea. It's my opinion. That's my thoughts on it. So welcome back to the show. Let's get into it today. Happy Monday. I shared last week the $39 trillion problem for small businesses, but it is for all Americans. And that is our national debt is over $39 trillion. And we have to clean up this mess. We have to come together. And so from an individual level as an American, choosing to have cash only weekends is a great way to build discipline financially as a habit, something I would have liked to have had because I have intimate experience with both business and personal debt in the tens of thousands of dollars. And it is not fun to have people who truly care about you bail you out financially. It is not fun to have to be a leech to your parents in your 20s, your 30s, beyond. It is not fun as a man who wants to be a provider to then have to rely on your girlfriend or your wife to pay for things because you don't have the money and you are in massive debt. So as a habit, when it comes to cash only weekends, great idea. Let's get back the debt clock here so we can see the problem. Okay, because we got to face it. It's important to face the reality of what we're dealing with. U.S. national debt over $39 trillion. U.S. federal spending, which by the way is the greatest, is the biggest single organization for spending in our economy is the U.S. U.S. government at over $39 trillion. So we have got to fix this. And one way is to balance a budget. This is something you can let your representatives know. But then on an individual level, we also have to have discipline because just looking at personal credit card debt, it is over $1 trillion. That also is a big mess we got to clean up. And as small business owners, there's an opportunity here to be able to help educate other Americans and to continue to push support for cash only. Instead of treating the people that are buying your services and products as sheep, treat them as human beings and as genuinely wanting to take care of them for the long term. When you can think about the long-term relationship, not just a short-term transaction, that can build immense amount of trust with the people that are coming to either your store, online or in person, or are buying your services. And that builds long-term relationships that in the end will really be able to help you to handle the chaos in the future. Because we do have a lot of uncertainty that's coming our way for a path. And as small business owners, as Americans, we have got to push back against this credit-centered economy. One of the people I look to for this is Dave Ramsey, who absolutely pushes back because where we're going is a lot more credit card usage. And so you are changing, you are really standing out by using cash only. I'd be interested to know your experience if you had someone look at you weird when you're paying in cash of like, wait, why are you doing this? Or why don't you use a card? It is something that can differentiate yourself. You can lead by example here and share this with others in your life of the importance of discipline financially, where by using cash for 2 days in the week can be a great start. And then you could expand it and build it out from there. Because I know personally, it feels good to have cash and to actually use that cash. The example would be going to Trader Joe's. I remembered going there, I had cash I had taken out of the ATM. I used that money and it felt good, surprisingly, even though there's studies that are out there that say it can create more pain and resistance to spending. But when it comes to something like groceries, like a necessity for me, being able to use cash felt great to be able to do that. And it was a new and exciting feeling for me of like, I'm making progress of building discipline here, and then where can that discipline lead me in all these other areas of my life? If that's with working out, to how to make sure to take care of getting my email, checking up on my emails with my business. It has this ripple effect in life that can be really helpful. And so there's something to keeping the money in the sock drawer, cash in the sock drawer as an emergency fund or in the envelope, and the safety that comes with that, this feeling of stability, and the feeling of growing up and not just being a kid forever. Because if we go more and more towards all digital transactions, where that could lead, and it's not crazy to think about this, is then it can go towards your purchases constantly getting tracked, bigger corporations taking advantage of your habits and your tendencies and behaviors as human beings, and exploiting that. And then what it can also lead to is then removal of privacy because your transactions are tracked, and it can go towards this mass surveillance society. And that we have to decide, what do we want our future to be? And I will tell you, with this movement, it is a movement to make sure that we are also taking care of our individual rights as Americans, one of which is our privacy, and being able to not get to the point where it feels like we have a babysitter with us all the time. So this habit is a great way to then push back against going all digital, because you physically are bringing cash, if it's to a store or paying for services with independent contractors. Using cash is a way to show that you want this to be here moving forward, and you don't want to just go into a cashless society. The other important aspect to remember as an American is that you represent the majority of the U.S. economy. And what I mean by that, I got to go to the Federal Reserve here so you can see this. This shows how our economy is a majority consumer-based economy, meaning it's you and your spending. And so in the U.S., the economy here is that's consumer-based is 68%. And so as Americans, we are resilient. We're resilient to the chaos that is out there. But we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and living within our means, so that in the long term, we can continue to make sure that our economy is around and is thriving into the future. And on an individual level, it's making sure that we have the discipline here financially. And then for the businesses that you're supporting, if the businesses are also helping to promote this habit for you of cash only, then there's going to be a trust that gets built there of, wow, these businesses genuinely care about me. And that's what this movement is about, is to bring together small business owners who genuinely care about their fellow Americans, and are not just thinking about them as sheep or numbers that they can take advantage of. This is something we have to change in our business culture and continue to push against. And you absolutely can create win-win experiences where the business can continue to grow exponentially year over year, while also taking care of and genuinely caring for the people that you are serving through your products and services. It can be both. And that's really important to not forget about that. What I also want to share with you when it comes to credit cards is what we've just accepted as Americans that we have to push back on, which is we've just accepted the fact that for a penalty, and I'm going to get it up here so you can see this. So for credit cards, when you miss a payment, many major credit cards, as I highlighted here, set the penalty of the annual interest rate to up to 29.99%, the maximum. And we got to ask ourselves, like, is this morally right to then continue to add more penalty, the maximum penalty, for already a very predatory system, if we think about it, for this form of credit-based economy. And there's a lot about it that is predatory for the feelings that can come up, even though it is legal for certain things, such as putting the maximum at 29.99%. But we got to ask ourselves, is it right? And then how do we continue to support our financial, on a financial level, support principles that really help to improve our overall quality of life in the long term? Because Yes, there can be ways that there are certain programs that you can pay off your debt on a lower interest rate. But to think that the penalty for mispayment is going to be to maximize the annual interest rate, we got to start to notice where things don't make sense and get curious and ask questions. And this is one area you can altogether get out of the system and stop using credit cards. That is something I'm working towards doing. And when it comes to my daily payments, to what I'm spending my money on. But then if that, it's not possible and immediate for everyone, but we gotta push back and notice where we don't have to just accept things for how they are. And where it just doesn't make any sense, we can absolutely voice that and show alternatives. And as small business owners, you can lead by example for other Americans as well, to say like, hey, we can go more towards cash only. And when we do that, we're keeping the money too in the local economy. It can be a great way to circulate it locally. You're not having every transaction tracked. It may be a little bit more effort from a business owner perspective to make sure you're tracking it consistently for the money, for when it comes to your accounting. But that little extra effort for the long term of continuing to make sure our economy is going to be able to thrive into the future, I would say that'd be worth it. And I'm a small business owner. That'd be worth it on my end to do that. So we're gonna continue to talk more about about ways we can handle this, or that we can move through this and clean up this $39 trillion mess that we have here on a national level. And that again goes back to balanced budget. But then on an individual level, we're leading by example and showing what we want, which is to make sure we're living within our means. That can set the tone and the example. And small business owners can be a great leader in that by leading by example and educating other Americans. And then together as Americans, we can unite on this and continue to move forward and make sure that we move the pendulum swing from where credit card, instead of a lot of transactions going to credit cards and debit cards, we can move that back towards cash and start to move towards a new future. And that, I believe, can help continue to bring into the future for America to make America's future a small business renaissance as well. I see that happening, but we're gonna get talk more about how we clean up this mess in later this week. I get really excited for also the Gen Z and the determination here to clean up the messes that have just been kicked down the road for generations and generations. And we got to put a stop to this. We got to think about the long term, not just short term. Look at the possibilities. Think in new ways and creative ways to be able to handle these messes, so that we can continue to move forward and to live the life that we want to live and enjoy the freedoms that we have here in the greatest country in the history of the world, and then to preserve our ability to own our small business as well. So if you are a small business owner who cares about this country too, I love this country, and I hope you care about this country and wanting to care about the future. You can join us for A Future Fest. This is where you can register right down here, afuturefest.com. Where you can connect in person with other small business owners across industries, across the country, in Charleston, South Carolina on January 14th and 15th, 2027. The plan is to have over 300 small business owners, and this movement is an exciting and powerful movement to come together and to shape the future for America and to set the example for then the rest of the world. So I'm excited for that, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow.